Hi guys, welcome to Eerified.
This is where the place we talk about everything supernatural. And today I have a very special guest all the way from Singapore, the Malayan city, Natasha.
Hi everyone, I'm Natasha. You can call me Nat. Yeah, so I'm from Singapore. I love reading horror stories. I love watching horror movies.
Yeah, that's why she's here. And I know you love especially Thai horror movies.
Yes, I do.
Okay, we have a very fun, interesting backstory how we got to know each other. We were actually already friends, and how we got to know each other is through K-pop dance. We're both K-pop dancers, and that's how we got to know each other. Because her team always comes to Malaysia to compete in K-pop dance. So if you are any K-pop dancers that's watching this, you've probably seen our faces before at K-pop events. So yeah, anyways, a disclaimer: if you are here today, this episode, to expect a lot of horror stories, this might not be the case for this episode because I purposely invite her because I want to make this a very like Singapore special. We talk about a lot of like things that's related to Singapore history, how Singapore is like built and how the buildings are built. They have a reason behind how they build, things like that. Because correct me if I'm wrong, because I always hear a lot of horror stories, from a lot of Singaporeans. For example, I listened to this very famous podcast from Singapore called 周公讲鬼. It's on the Love 972.
Yes, Love 972.
And also, I was also a big fan of True Singapore Ghost Story by Russell
Russell
Lee. Exactly. So I felt like Singapore is I won't say Singapore is a land full of ghosts, but it's like I feel like Singaporeans really like important. What do you mean by important ghosts? Tell us more.
The ghosts all come
from other places because Singapore is very small, is it?
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like Singaporeans genuinely really like horror stories. So that's why I think it would be really fun to have a special episode regarding Singapore. So personally, what do you think? Do you believe in horror stories, like supernatural?
I personally believe in like spirits and like supernatural things. I mean, there are some things that cannot be explained by science, right? And I do believe they do exist and coexist in our space. So I feel that Singapore actually, why we have a lot of these like sightings or like urban legends and myths, is really because Singapore's land is so limited. Like, we are a very small country, right? And actually a lot of our buildings, our housings, they are built on top cemeteries because we have very limited land space. So we have to make way for like urban redevelopment and to have like new buildings come up over time as we progress as a nation, right? The land that we get is from removing removing the old cemeteries places. So actually, Orchard Road, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Part of Orchard Road, actually, the shopping malls, they were built on top cemeteries. If you know like Ngee City and Wisma Atria, that area with Cine Leisure, that used to be on top of, I think if I'm not wrong, it was a Teochew cemetery. So it's one of the biggest Teochew cemeteries. I think it's called Tai Shan Ting or something. Y'all can Google about it. But basically back then it was a Teochew cemetery, and it was Ngee City. You know the one with Takashimaya department store, the red building.
We'll put a picture here.
Yeah.
So this is Ngee City.
So it's owned by the Ngee Kongsi Foundation. So if I'm not wrong, the cemetery is under them as well. So back then, when they had to make room for like the shopping area, they had to exhume the graves, like the cemetery area. And if I'm not wrong, right, actually, the shopping mall, the old Ngee City, it used to be like a 10-story building. But there were rumors that it was like haunted and it was not doing very well when they first like cleared the land and built the thing. So they had to tear down the building. And rumor has it that the current Ngee City building, right, because they sought like a feng shui master to like kind of appease the spirits, right? So people say that the current Ngee City looks like a tombstone and Chinese offerings. So like the tower A and B look like candles. Then there are flagpoles in front that look like joss sticks. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now I think about it. Yeah, okay. Please put a picture there. I kind of get the idea of what you're trying to say.
Yeah, so apparently it's to appease the spirits. So they kind of built the building to kind of like represent the tombstone and like the Chinese offerings to kind of like bless the area and stuff like that. Okay, to be very fair, I feel like this has been like debunked. This has been debunked. Like people say it's not. It's just like Chinese in architecture. Like it's just an architectural design kind of thing. But I mean, everybody has different ways to like appease spirits, and feng shui is like quite a big thing as well to kind of like bless the space and all that kind of thing, right? So I mean, y'all can also comment, like see what do y'all like really think that it does resemble like the kind of like Chinese offerings and stuff like that.
I think it's fair. I mean, like feng shui things. The feng shui is a very wide knowledge. You know, like doesn't matter if Ngee the current Ngee shopping mall is built with that purpose in mind or not. It doesn't really matter. It's just that it's an interesting fact. Like, not a fact, I mean it's an interesting point of view because from my personal experience, I've been to Orchard Road a lot of times. By the way, Orchard Road, for those who doesn't know, Orchard Road is technically like the Bukit Bintang street of Singapore. So it's like a stretch of a lot of popular shopping malls in Singapore and on a particular road, a street. So it's technically like Bukit Bintang. And I've seen the mall myself, and yeah, it does look like it's a very Chinese looking, and there's actually 5 flag poles in front of the mall. So it does look okay. Please don't feel like I'm saying this. It is what it is.
It looks like people say it looks like joysticks. Like it's a form of like respect to respect the space and like to appease the spirit. So it's like Chinese offerings.
And I do get that. I do get the image of it, and it's very interesting. One thing very interesting to me because. Correct me if I'm wrong, because in Malaysia we don't really have how do you say like malls in brown colors? Because Ngee City
very
is
reddish brown.
It's
very reddish brown. Yeah.
And okay, no, this is not anything like just my personal opinion. Doesn't like it's not everyone's opinion. It's just my opinion. It does looks a bit very similar to like incense color, that related to Chinese offering stuff. But it's just my assumption. It's totally, it has been debunked by the developer themselves.
Yeah.
So it's just something interesting to talk about lah.
Yeah. And I mean, there have been people who have worked at like Ngee City and like Takashimaya area, like those who did like night shifts. They have witnessed things lah, like things moving, like apparently like the sports section like got basketball bouncing in the middle of the night kind of vibes. Then again, we wouldn't know.
Okay, technically I feel like spirits appears everywhere. Like it's not an isolated thing. It's not just limited to specifically Ngee City. Is everywhere. So probably it's just something that it just happens to be there. So people happens to be there to see it. Who knows? Pavilion.
Maybe.
Yeah. You never know, ma.
Shopping.
Yeah. And
shopping at Pavilion.
And interestingly, in Malaysia, there's one very famous Japanese based Japanese made shopping mall in Malaysia. I'm not gonna name it, but I'm sure all of us know where it is. It was built after they demolished a jail.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Yeah, and you've been there and you completed that before. I'm not sure.
I know which one you're talking about.
I mean, we all know.
I did not know it was built.
It was a very old prison.
Okay.
So they demolished the prison. So they left them. If you notice, right, that mall, in front of the door gate, there's the one something like 19 something ish or 18 something ish is the entrance of the of the prison. Okay. That mall also have a lot of rumors of sightings, having like doors being open and closed, even despite not having any winds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of rumors going on. So probably, but we never know lah,
Yeah. They might be lingering around us shopping as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So besides like shopping areas, another thing that's we have to make room for is housing in Singapore, right? Because we have very limited land space. So a lot of housing estates are also built on top of cemeteries. So one very good example is like the Bidadari estate. Yeah, because the Bidadari estate is built on top one of the largest cemeteries last time. It used to be, I think there's about maybe 100,000 kind of like graves there because the Christian, Sinhalese, Indian, Muslim communities, their graves were in that area. So I think if I'm not wrong, by 2006, I think all the graves there were exhumed already, the burial sites were exhumed. So Bidadari estate was built on top, and one of the MRT stations, Woodlake, is also built on top of the area. So actually, Woodlake they started constructing the MRT station about 2003, but it's like people have like rumor has it, and there were sightings of like white figures. Pochong? Is it Pochong?
Pochong. Oh wait, Pochong is all the way in Singapore.
That's what people say. They see like white figures, possibly Pochong. Like, because the thing is, people are wondering, like, they started building the MRT station in 2003. Then it took about 8 years. 8 years for it to, I think, fully operate. So people are like wondering, like, oh, is it because the spirits are not like appeased because you kind of like intrude on the area? So I mean, we never know, right? But it is a fact that our current housing estates and quite a number of schools, shopping malls, they were all built on top.
Is this a known fact to all Singaporeans? Like, for example, you said the Bidadari estate.
Yeah.
Is it a known fact that it was built? It's built on an old, over a cemetery.
I think I would say, like, if you are in the area or you are buying a house there, I think you would know lah. And I feel like it's more of like we kind of take it as like, oh, it has to happen because we have such limited land space. Like, where do we take it from?
Yeah,
right? So it has to be
totally
from like the older like burial sites. Yeah.
Oh, so it's not like a published fact, but it's more of like a thing that every Singaporean knows.
I think you know lah, like they would say, hey, our school last time was a cemetery, or like,
exactly.
hey, my house last time was a cemetery, that kind of thing.
Because in Malaysia also it's very interesting because I don't know, this is based on my experience because I used to study, I used to move around schools last time because I moved a lot last time when I was younger. And so far all of my primary schools, right, they are all said to be built above, not above, like it's built in an old cemetery, like they demolish a cemetery and they build it, or they build it on a war zone, the place where they like bury all the corpses when during the World War II or something like that.
So speaking of that, also like some of our areas, because back during World War II times, like our Sentosa area, like Fort Siloso, is also supposedly like haunted and like sightings, because that used to be like a prisoner of war camp area, like where soldiers were like killed or tortured. So the Fort Siloso area has also been quite like spooky. So every time Halloween, then when they have like Halloween horror nights at the USS area, and sometimes Fort Siloso itself, they have their own like Halloween event. So it's like like for the vibes, but at the same time it's also rumored to be a
actual haunted place,
like Sentosa, like near the water and like stuff like that.
Oh, okay. I have a question.
Okay.
So because you said that, I might sound a little bit ignorant, but I'm just really curious. You say that they reuse the land where there used to be cemeteries, right? So how do they where do they put all these all these like disease or like their bodies? Where do they move them?
So actually, if I'm not wrong, right, Singapore has like a 15-year burial period. The reason why we have this like burial period is because of our land scarcity. So there's this 15-year, should be 15 years. Y'all can like fact check again. It should be a 15-year like burial period. So after 15 years, it just means that they can like exhume like the bodies and stuff like that lah. So what happens? So you ask what happens to like these tombs, the graves and the bodies, right? So I think there are a few ways. If the deceased religion allows it to be cremated, then they will cremate the bodies and then the ashes will be put in the columbariums or whatever. Then if the deceased religion does not allow for cremation, then they might actually rebury their bodies or their remains like in another smaller like plot. There are some families who maybe choose to scatter these remains like at sea, for example. Depending on like religion and I guess like kind of thing. So if I'm not wrong, there's a 15-year like limit. There's a time limit for burial because the government we might constantly be finding plots of land to like build certain things to make way for progress, for like development, as our society is like progressing and that kind of thing. And we have limited land space, so we do need all these like land for other purposes, housing, schools, lifestyle, shopping malls.
Totally understand. Okay, I have a question for you. Okay, since you said that some of the estates were built on old past cemeteries. Okay, for example, I'm not going to say that I'm not going to assume that these places will be haunted because I'm pretty sure rituals are done.
Of course.
Everything is put at peace. But if you live inside a new house and after that you know that this place is haunted, somehow you know that it's haunted, will will you be okay to live there? Like, to be honest. But if you, let's say if you did not experience anything, but you know that, oh, this place is haunted.
I think it's fine, I guess, because like I said, I feel like at some point you have walked across somewhere in Singapore there was probably like an old cemetery or you know, something like happened in the area, right? I'm okay. I don't know. I feel like ghosts don't kacau me.
Yeah, exactly. Ghosts don't kacau you if you don't kacau them lah. That's what I believe.
Yeah. Okay, so speaking about that, like jokes aside, like I touch wood, I don't get like kacau by anything, but I feel that like it's really just like respecting the space you're at lah. I mean, as humans also we have to respect each other's space, right? When you intrude or you trespass or you enter another person's like house or like space. So I think in the same way, when you like enter a space that possibly belong to like a spirit or something, I think it's just being polite and or being aware that they're there lah. Yeah. And just basically don't disturb them lor. If you don't disturb them, they also won't disturb you.
Okay, speaking about this, I'm going to go into a story later, but I still have a question regarding, you know, the surrounding of Singapore, because I'm pretty sure there's a very famous Changi Old Hospital in Singapore,
yes, Old Changi
which is
Old Changi
which is
Hospital.
known to be very haunted and a lot of like Ghostbusters.
Like you wanna try out whether it's really haunted. There was a documentary filmed inside the hospital as well. Like it was made into a movie.
And interestingly, I live because I go to Singapore very often, especially if I go there during CNY. I go with a bunch of like big family, all my relatives and all. So we will always stay in the chalet near Old Changi Hospital.
Yeah, because the Changi side, right?
The Changi side. So I used to live at a chalet that's like diagonally
facing
diagonally facing the Old Changi Hospital.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, at night it does looks very creepy.
It's the vibes lah.
Yeah,
Because
it's the vibes,
you kind of feel the atmosphere is a bit like eerie. And sometimes so dark.
Yeah,
like,
it's
a
so
very
dark.
dark area.
But it's really interesting that, you know, even though it's there for so long, but it was never like
demolished.
Yeah, demolished. Is there a reason why, or is this like a cultural preservation?
I feel like one could just possibly be. I wouldn't say it's like a tourist attraction or anything like that, right? I think it's just there because like they don't have use for the land, perhaps. Like they don't have use for that space because it's quite secluded and far out, right, in that sense. So perhaps they have no use for that space yet. Second thing is, if you follow the rumors and like the myths and stuff, and then I guess there are too many like maybe spirits still lingering in the area that you don't want to anger.
Exactly.
You know, to anger, because I mean it was an old hospital which it was a old hospital site, so which means that a lot of deaths, a lot of deaths that happened there, and so I feel like practically maybe it's just cause they don't have maybe like use for the land yet, so it's still standing there.
I feel like I also feel like they should not abolish it, in my personal opinion, because I feel like it's something very I won't say this is a culture thing, but it's so known. Like this place is
like a famous this is a haunted place.
Yeah, it's a very famous spot. So I think something
I think there was a period of time where people kept going in. I think they kind of blocked the area already lah. Like there were people who like would enter like for the fun, right? Like stay overnight. Like I don't know, like get like try out whether they do experience like certain things. Yeah.
Okay, other than Old Changi Hospital, I was reading online also. I know there's this apartment complex in Singapore. I'm not going to name where lah, but apparently it's shaped like a diamond. It's also known to be one of the most haunted flats in Singapore, because apparently there were a lot of death, like suicides happened.
Yeah, I think they call it like suicide blocks. Yeah. So I guess because a lot of people like supposedly committed suicide.
Oh, you know where is it? You know where's the place?
I know which one you're talking about.
Have you been there personally?
No, it's very far away from where I stay lah. So I've not like passed by or been there, but I know which blocks you're talking about. So because I mean for us, our most common type of housing in Singapore is HDB flats.
Yes.
So anyway, those blocks, there's a nickname for it. They call it like suicide blocks. I mean, y'all can Google, y'all can read more about like the area. It's just like a name given to that like estate area.
But I actually did some research and also watched like documentaries on Ghostbusters visiting the place. Then honestly, sometimes right, a myth and a rumor is just a rumor. Because after I watched all these videos and like doing research, actually most of the people who actually went there, they just find the place very normal.
I guess.
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's also a very old place.
Yeah, it's just
sometimes things happen because
old
it's very
places.
old.
Yeah, exactly.
But there could also possibly be, again, we wouldn't know, right? Yeah.
It's just people's mindset, you know. When you it's very simple. When you go into the hospital, you will automatically feel like, oh, this place could be haunted because it's hospital, it's related to deaths and all. It's all in your mind. So the more you think about it, you will just scare yourself. No, maybe it's just something like literally something just drop, you know. It could be, you know, a pen just roll and drop. You will be like, oh my god, is there something like push the thing down or something like that?
Yeah. Or maybe everyone should just go and visit in the day, right? Maybe it feels more.
Yeah,
feels
exactly.
less scary.
So sometimes at the end of the day, a myth is just a myth. So I don't think it could not be related to anything.
Yeah, I mean, if you're interested, I mean, there are a lot of horror, like horror story, horror, like supernatural, like buffs who really enjoy all these kind of things. I mean, like take things with like a pinch of salt, whatever you like believe or whatever that you read. Yeah, I mean, it's also fun to read about all these kind of like paranormal activity, right? Yeah, it's very fun and it gives you goosebumps. Then you feel like, oh my goodness, like you never know that such places like exist also in your country, kind of thing. It's like a good to know. If you've experienced it, I'm sorry, and like kind of thing. Like it's a tale for you to share with other people, kind of thing as well. But yeah, I think what we've talked about is really about respecting the space, maybe preserving a bit of history, and a lot of these things are very linked historically as well. Yeah, in Singapore, so it's like a rich history. And as I mentioned about the land scarcity, so all these things are really just about showing politeness to the space that you have intruded on, or you have to like reuse the space for another reason lah.
Yeah, because I mean at the end of the day, it's still life. We have to move on.
Correct.
We have to make use of something.
It's finding that balance between moving on in life, like progressing, as well as like respecting our ancestors who lived before us, kind of thing. Yeah.
Okay, since you talk about respect, I'm going to go into straight to this story.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a story that I found online, but since it's a Singapore special, so this horror supernatural sighting occurs in a hotel in Singapore.
Ooh, okay.
In Sentosa.
Which we just talked about, right? Sentosa.
Yeah, we just talked about. Okay. So, if anyone doesn't know what is Sentosa, can you describe a bit about Sentosa?
Sentosa is
to
like
our viewers.
Sentosa is basically like, okay, so currently now Sentosa is where is Sentosa Island, which is kind of a little bit off Singapore, but it's not like out of Singapore kind of thing, right? Yeah. So USS is there, Universal Studios is there, Resorts World is there, and all our like tourist attractions are there, right? Like they are gonna open the new the old sea aquarium. They closed down, and like they're opening this new like ocean park, kind of indoor ocean park kind of like vibes. Yeah, and then there's like also the Adventure Cove, like all those. So basically, it's a
very happening.
Yeah, it's a very happening tourist attraction. But as I mentioned earlier, because Sentosa is near the water, so the Fort Siloso area, there's history behind it, because it used to be a place, a World War, during World War, it was used as like places like fight. It was a fighting like
a war place lah.
War place, prisoner of war camp kind of thing. So I guess that's why it's happening, but yet also
that's why you will never expect something like this to happen at such a magical, happening place. But this thing happened to this person who wrote this story online.
Okay.
So just let's give him a nickname. Call him Alan. Okay.
Sure,
Alan. So just Alan. So Alan went to this hotel in Sentosa.
Okay.
So he went with his family. So when he first reached the hotel, it was fine for him. Technically, it's fine for him. So once he reached the hotel, he's gonna the family's like, okay, let's go to swimming and all. So just get prepared and stuff like that. So so Alan, he was just like preparing, going into the toilet, just like just checking out himself like that. So he saw it's this very big mirror lah. So of course, being a young teenager, young boy, you appreciate yourself sometimes, right? Yeah. So he took a photo. He took a photo of the through the mirror. So
mirror selfie lah.
Yeah, mirror selfie. Okay. So what he described is that the mirror. Okay, so this is the mirror. So when you look at the mirror, it reflects a glass door. So technically, the door to go into the toilet is a glass door.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So through the glass door, he mentioned he saw a white figure.
Ooh,
Yeah,
okay, okay.
not just any white figure. So it's a figure dressed in white, and then with his head bowed, like tilted down like this.
Okay.
And it's very specific. The way he expressed it, he described it is that he has like close to no hair, but he has a patch of hair in the middle of his head.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a very interesting description because I've never heard of a ghost description like this.
Or like a ghost
before.
with like just a patch of
hair at the middle. It's like
Okay.
it's not like 地中海, you know, but then
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
it's like opposite of 地中海.
Okay,
So
okay.
地中海has like hair at the side, but his one
or
is
like
at the
most
middle.
like almost like female ghosts is like the super long hair, like
Yeah.
the typical kind of what you see in movies
Yes.
depicted in like urban legends and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. So okay, then he was like, okay. He was a bit shocked, but he just told himself, okay, maybe he's just like tripping and all. Then his father suddenly just asked him, hey, let's just go out, you know, just go to
okay.
the swimming pool and,
Yeah.
go swimming. So, okay, then after that, nothing much happened, but he got very sick. Of course, he was scared, but he got very sick after that. So, one day, because he was sick, so he stayed in his hotel room. But then while he's sleeping, he could hear knocking sound.
Oh, on his room door?
On the room door. Okay, the sound. Okay, he's not sure where the sound came from, but the sound is towards the door, definitely towards the entrance,
Okay.
So he was really like a little bit freaked out because nobody was home, and why the parents just left, the family just left. Who would suddenly come into the room? Maybe the bellboy or maybe the reception. Yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
But he was already scared.
Okay.
Then when he walked through the bathroom, he was already having a thought that the sound came from the bathroom door.
Okay.
But anyways, he just walked past, and then he realized the sound is not from the entrance. It's from the bathroom. The knocking sound, knock, 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 is from the bathroom.
Okay.
But of course he didn't do anything. He just go back to his bed and he cited prayers lah. So according to him, nothing much happened, but he got very, very sick. And also a very interesting thing that he found out is that when they entered the room, the family already complained about a stench smell in the room. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so they went with a family of 5. So they easily it's normal to have 2 rooms. So his room, as he described, his room is very cold. Even though he turned the aircon to be like to 30 degree or 29, it still feels very cold. Whereas the sister's room is very normal. So like you cannot explain things like that, right? Because it's not normal that you turn on an aircon to like 30 degree, but you still feel hot. You still feel cold. It doesn't work that way. But yeah, technically nothing serious happened. But right before he goes home, he went into the toilet and he talked to himself, or he talked to anything inside the toilet. I'm gonna leave now. Don't follow me home. And that's the end of the story.
Yeah, so actually you spoke about how he said don't follow me home, the exit, right? So you know how I'm very sure like as we were growing up, like your parents would have told you like before you enter a hotel room or anything, you will knock on the door first.
Yeah.
It's just to, if there's anyone inside, to let them know that hi, I'm coming in, I'm intruding. I'm sure you will do that also.
You do that also?
I do. It's just I cannot pinpoint exactly how come we started doing it, right? Someone would have told us something like, okay, before you enter, like knock first to like announce your entry.
Exactly.
And
Who knows,
anything.
maybe the boy didn't, maybe Ella didn't do that. I'm not sure, I'm just saying. But other than knocking, I also will flush the toilet. Do you do that?
I actually don't.
You don't?
Yeah, I don't. I just knock to announce arrival. Actually, another thing that I learned is they say like if you live with a group of people, right, don't neatly arrange your shoes. I don't know if you know that. Like you must mess up your shoes.
And don't put your shoes facing the bed.
Correct. Like because they say that if you put it very neatly, then it's like
inviting them to
wear it and like come.
Yeah,
right. That's why
like
you mess it up so they don't know, they cannot find the pair of shoes.
I also heard of another tale is that another belief is that you should put sweets around the bed.
Oh, like surrounding.
Yeah,
So that if they want to come, they will just take the suite.
Yeah, it's like
Is it?
It's mainly to offer the kid.
Those like
kids
the child.
Yeah. So technically, what they say is that if let's say at night, at night kids won't roam around at night in outside the hotel rooms, right? So if you hear sounds of kids, right, then you should put the suites around. Okay, and this is something that my cousin brother, he himself experienced. He was in a hotel by himself. I think I storied this before in a previous episode. But yeah, he was in his hotel room alone, and he can hear like kids laughing in his room. In his room.
Okay.
And then like TV turning on.
So
by
did he
itself.
leave the suites?
Then after that, I don't know how the heck he can actually stay inside the hotel and not leave the room. But yeah, but after that he just put the suites around surrounding his bed. But it looks like a ritual. I don't understand. But anyway, he did that. And he said the moment he woke up the next morning, right, the suites are gone. The packaging are still there, but it's open. Yeah. But okay, if you were in Alan's shoe, if you heard the knock, and the knock is not from outside, what would you do?
I feel like it really depends how much it affects me. If I feel like the knocking intensifies and I'm sick somewhere, right, and I cannot, then I'll probably change room, or I'll sleep in like my siblings' room, or move a room lah. But yeah, but I think it's all the more scary because he already experienced it when he was taking the mirror selfie.
Yeah. Oh my god, I'm getting goosebumps right now. But
Yeah.
But yes, this is a story from Alan that happened in Singapore, Sentosa Hotel in Sentosa.
Okay, now you mentioned child ghosts, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna represent a Singapore sister.
You have a story.
Represent a Singapore sister. Let's call her. Can't have a name.
Melinda, representing Malayan.
Melinda. Okay.
Yeah, Melinda.
Okay, so Melinda is actually she's an air stewardess for SIA, Singapore Airlines. So she has stories to tell of her travels and airplane stories.
Okay.
Some of y'all might have experienced it. I don't know if you have as well.
On airplane? Okay, interestingly, right, I don't really hear horror stories from airplane. And somehow airplane is a place that's very distant from horror stories for me, personally for me. I feel like I've never heard of things that happen in airplane. So this probably be the first time. And I've never sat on SIA before. So yeah, just
okay. This is her personal experience as an air stewardess on a flight. So she was gonna take a red eye flight, which is overnight, like a overnight.
Red eye means
overnight flight.
Okay.
And if I'm not wrong, when she went to report for like her work shift, some of her shift, the crew members were talking, and she was like, "Oh, what are you talking about?" kind of thing. And they were saying like, "Oh, this shift, a lot of like the colleagues reported sick." So she was wondering like, "Oh, why? Is it cause like the manager you don't like the manager, you don't like the senior, then you like report sick, that kind of thing." Yeah, but apparently this could also happen for other work industries, other airlines as well, right?
Yes.
When you have stories being passed on, and then you have like a list of aircrafts and air types that are like supposedly haunted, or like things have always happened on the flight. Like they have a list of, I cannot now say I don't work in the industry, but I don't have the full, like I cannot say like the list of like which are the aircraft types or the flight numbers that are supposedly
SIA. I'm sorry.
That are supposedly like
haunted,
things that happen. So it could just be things like rerouting, like too many coincidental things like rerouting someone suddenly got heart attack on the flight, that kind of vibe.
Also, you're saying that the flight has a lot of these histories where suddenly rerouting,
could be like something happened on the flight, like it's not a smooth flight.
Okay, I understand.
So maybe that's why it has gotten into this like blacklist of like.
Okay, just give this flight a pseudonym. Maybe like Melinda 111. Okay, Melinda 111.
Wow.
Flight Melinda 111.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this flight Melinda 111, I think if I'm not wrong, it was one of the older, bigger aircrafts. I don't think they use it now, yeah, I think because it's very old. It was an old, so if I'm not wrong, it was an older one, and it was known to be like things have happened.
On Melinda 111 specifically.
That kind of, I think could be that kind of aircraft or something like that.
Understand.
Yeah, okay. So on her flight, she said that she was serving the business class side. So because red eye flight is usually her load quite light, Like they don't, not that they don't have a lot of things to do, but I believe like red eye flight, once you like serve the food, then like she was quite chill for that. So she decided to find her colleague in the economy class. So she went to the end of the plane, the galley lah, behind the curtain. They were resting, right? So I think she was sitting on the crew seat, like the crew seat to like sip some tea. She was taking a break. Then I think her colleague probably went away or went to the toilet. Like she was alone there. Then after that, she was sipping tea. She said, suddenly like someone like opened the curtain.
Yes.
Like then she was like saying, oh, who needs help, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Then she saw this child who was carrying like a football, she said, and wearing a jersey. So I think he spoke to her in Cantonese. He spoke to her in Cantonese, and then like I think she replied like do you need anything in Cantonese? Yeah, I don't know.
So you did
yeah. She spoke in Cantonese like, do you need something? Then the boy said no need, like in Canto. So she just okay. Then he went away.
Okay.
Then her colleague came back and then they were chatting. Then she just happened to bring up, she was like, hey, like just now got this very cute kid who like came up, and I think she brought it up because she said, oh, the kid very polite, because nowadays kids like could be like, you know, kids on flight could be very like not annoying. The best on their best behavior. Yeah. So she was just mentioning to her colleague like, hey, like this kid very cute, like very polite, you know. Then her colleague in economy class is like, but we have no kids on the flight. Like our economy class or our like there are no like kids like registered on the flight. So she was like, how old is this kid? Then the Melinda was like 6 to 7 years old. Then they were like, Then they were a bit like.
Did they check the other side also?
So I think they tried to be like, okay. So I think Melinda like walked out, and then she just happened, because it's a bigger flight, right? So they have quite a few of the galleys.
Yes, understand. Like sections are different sections.
So she happened to, she was at the last galley, she was at the back. She went to the fourth one. She happened to look inside. She saw the football that the kid was carrying. And the thing is, she remembers the football because it was very distinct colours. It was red and white. And she freaked out. And she asked her colleague, do you see the football? The colleague's like,
oh, so the colleague, just not only the colleague did not see the boy, but the colleague also did not see the football.
Yeah. But the thing is, see, Melinda had a conversation with the boy. It wasn't just a sighting. The boy went up and she asked, do you need anything? And he said, no need. Yeah.
So that's the end.
Yeah, but it was just her sighting possibly a kid who does not exist because you see the flight, no kid.
Okay, so did Melinda go and search for the kid after that?
I believe
she did.
They probably walked the plane, right? Just like, okay, there's really no kid, right? Yeah.
It's interesting because okay, since we're talking about ghosts and in-flight ghosts, why would there's always like stories that, you know,
why are they there?
Why are they there? But that, like, how is there something that happened in the flight to this kid? Because it's very weird that suddenly, you know, inside a flight, you say, okay, maybe you say a flight has a air stewardess ghost. That makes more sense, you know, because they used to work there, or maybe they pass away, they are restless, they still want to work and stuff like that. But for a kid ghost to appear on the flight, so it's like,
maybe
what
he was
happened?
Deprived of flying. He wanted to
fly to see the Manchesters or something.
He never traveled before.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's interesting.
Sometimes you think, right, like, why are they found in certain places? Like, why are they there, right?
Exactly.
Like, if like no tragedy happened, like for example, like it wasn't like an aircraft death, again we wouldn't know. But
that's why I'm saying probably it could be an aircraft death of the little child,
or an accident relating to aircraft. Maybe we wouldn't know. So
okay, it's a little bit creepy.
Yeah, but speaking of items, I'm sure, like, I don't know if your parents told you before, like, if you see like items on the floor, you should like don't touch what is not yours, you know.
Okay, for me personally, I think I said this before also. Even though I see 100 ringgit on the floor, right?
Yeah, you won't pick up.
I will not pick up.
Okay.
What about you? If you see $100 on the floor, will you pick up? Be honest.
$100, 100 Sing dollars?
Yes, Sing dollars. Sing dollars, not RM. Your RM is like about $30 for you.
The thing is, for me, like, okay, number one, nowadays we don't really carry cash lah. Let's put it that way.
No, no. That's not. If you see $100 bill on the floor, we'll take it. Be honest.
I won't. Okay, my personal thing is I usually won't because I believe in like karma also. Like if it's not yours, don't take lor. Like no matter how tempting it's because it could have belonged to someone who really needed it. Yeah, I feel like rather than take it and keep it for yourself, like act blur, live longer sometimes like works in situations like that also.
But you won't take it. It's not because of superstitious belief. It's more really feel like
when it comes to money, I don't have super like stitious beliefs. But when it comes to actual items, I feel like if it's not yours, like don't take it. Especially like my mom used to tell me, like if you see like one shoe around, like one slipper or one like shoe, like don't touch it. Yeah, don't touch it. It's just probably like a superstition and stuff like that.
Okay, what about okay, I always hear this story, you know. Interestingly, I hear this story also from a Singaporean friend.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, it's like they told me that if I mean that's what he said like he's walking.
Okay.
It's not his story, but that's what he told me.
Okay.
He said if you see a basketball, literally a basketball, not basketball or like football at night on the streets, do not kick it. Okay. That's what I heard because they say that it could be the head of something.
Ooh, okay.
It's told by me by a Singaporean friend. So that's why I say Singapore has a lot of interesting supernatural stories.
Yeah, but I just think it's the whole concept of just not touching what's yours. I mean, same thing like what I mentioned about like intruding on space, right? Same thing as a human also, if it's your things, I won't touch it without permission. But I just feel we should offer that same mindset to the dead as well. Yeah, like if it's their things, don't touch lah. Yeah, okay. You never know.
Since we talk about superstitious, right? Do you I heard of this superstition belief that do not cut your nails at night.
My mother said cannot cut on the bed at night.
Is there a reason why?
Especially pregnant women. Okay, again, a lot of these things we don't really know the logic or the reason behind it. I just know, like now that you mentioned, it's like, I've been told this before, don't cut your nails at night. Because the sound will invite them. It's the k sound. I don't know whether this is the reason why they tell us not to do that.
Okay, for me, when I was studying in primary school, my teacher also told me this thing. But I feel like when she told me, it's just more like a joke, stuff like that. Do not cut your nails. Okay, that's what she told me. That's what I quote what she said. If you cut your nails at night, your mother will die.
Huh?
Yeah. This is what I heard. That's what she quoted.
Okay, this vaguely sounds familiar. I remember being like someone who was pregnant was told not to cut nails on the bed, because it will cause someone's death. Again, I don't know.
That's why I heard. But the thing is, because after I heard that, right, I literally did not cut my nails at night for the longest period of time.
So it's become like a habit of yours that's ingrained, right? It's like you cannot cut at night, you can cut at the day.
But after that, I still. But after when I grow up, I did I still cut at night.
But because, it's like back then when like people tell you it's like don't do this.
I was so scared. I remember there was one time I was so because my nails were really long and I still had that thing engraved in my mind. So I accidentally cut my nails. I was so freaking freaked out. Yeah. I thought like the worst whatever will happen, but thankfully everything's.
But I've also been told like when lie down, right, I cannot lift my legs up like in the air. Because it will make your parents die earlier. Like you cannot lie down, then you leave your legs like dangling up. Sometimes you lie down, then you like when you lie on your stomach.
Yes.
Then like your legs are like up.
Yeah.
They say cannot. It's like
really?
It's like look like joysticks. I don't know. It's just like now that you mention it.
But I'm pretty sure everyone did it before.
I'm sure lah. It's just like sometimes when you do it, then your parents say don't do it. You want us to die early, is it? That kind of thing. Yeah, exactly. It's like all these things that people tell, but actually also like relating to like all these superstitions, right? Like back then, like school orientation camps, outings, and like they always say like walk in pairs, never ever walk in odd numbers, cause if you're in odd numbers, then they will latch. They will pick you to latch onto. So you should walk in pairs.
Oh, this is also something really interesting because, like I said, I listen to a lot of. I'm a fan of this Singaporean Chinese podcast, horror podcast.
Yeah, it's very nice, by the way. You should listen to it.
And a lot of stories come from the military in Singapore.
Yes.
Yeah. And this odd numbers, even number thing is so common. It's so
That's
much
why
on the
I
show.
think it's very much like as we grow up, like tell you like walk in pairs, don't walk in odd numbers. It's also the same because in Singapore, like the male have to go through NS, right, which is not compulsory for you guys here, right?
I think recently they brought it back, but I still think it's by ballot, not ballot like by draw.
Yeah, because in Singapore NS is
compulsory for all men.
For males.
Yes.
So that's why you have. I'm sure if you Google it, you go on Reddit, you will read a lot of NS horror stories from Tekong, which is Pulau Tekong, which is where they are at. Yeah, and a lot of the NS camps have a lot of like ghost stories, horror sightings, like supernatural stuff that happens. So y'all can read more about it.
I mean, actually, for national service in Malaysia, I also heard a lot of stories like that before, but. Of course, our national service period is not as long as the Singapore, so maybe that's why we don't have so much. But who knows, in the future, maybe when you come back again, you can bring a male friend with you to be on the show.
So I can find a male friend to talk about, to come to KL talk about
national,
NS.
And that's, it could be a very interesting thing.
Sure.
Yeah, bring a hunky guy to let our viewers watch.
Okay, if you have requests, criteria for the type of guy you want, I'll find for you.
Hunky, mature Singaporean man. So maybe our ladies viewers will be happy. Okay. What else do you heard before we end this session? What are the other superstitious things that you heard?
Superstitious things
like not to do since Hungry Ghost Month is in 2-3 months time.
Yeah. It's the kind of thing like if you smell something sweet, don't mention it. You smell something like actually just now when you mentioned that hotel room story, right? They mentioned about the scent, right? Like this one no choice because they are indoors ma. But actually, like my mom used to tell me last time, like if you're walking outside, especially at night, right? Or you're like and you smell something sweet or you smell something like don't mention it. Like you just like it really is the whole act blur live longer mindset. You just don't mention it. Just walk away. If you are at night and you're alone and someone calls your name, don't turn around. That's what I've been told. Yeah.
Okay, when you mentioned about smell, I remember this one incident when I was driving home late at night. I did suddenly smell a very flowery smell in my car.
It's that kind of flowery smell.
But back then I already have this idea. I already know about this thing, so I never said anything. But yeah, it's very weird, right? Because I was just passing by like housing area. Where do those smells come from?
Yeah. Actually, like there was one trip in KL. Then I was with our mutual friend, right? Then he was driving in a car. Then it was very dark, and then we kept going around this like bend, and we saw this figure that freaked us out. Like we really freaking scared. Okay, it turns out it's like a homeless man lah. He was like naked. The thing is he was naked. And the thing was from far it looked very scary because he was just standing still. As you are doing a roundabout, you are driving like dark. Roundabout, then you see this figure and we both like.
But it's just turned out to be a naked man.
We believe it's a homeless naked man lah. But it's these kind of things that just freak you out, especially at night when you're alone also. Yeah.
Okay, one last question. Do you believe in thrifting? Like thrifting clothes,
thrifting clothes.
Yeah, because the old people will always tell us do not thrift clothes.
Yes, my mom also would tell me like don't buy people's clothes. Like don't buy secondhand items. It's the whole. Speaking about that, it's really like don't buy secondhand items, especially like cause they might be linked to things or they have stories we wouldn't know about, like who did this belong to. I mean, you wouldn't like go and dig back and trace who belongs to, like what happened to these items, kind of thing.
Do you thrift though? But personally,
I have bought secondhand items. I mean nowadays,
it's a trend right now.
Like buying from other people is very normal, right? Carousel, we have Carousel. Like you buy things that used to belong. I mean, it's in terms of being practical, it's just to not throw them away lah. So if you can pass it on to someone better. But I understand last time the older generation will be like, oh, like cannot like buy secondhand items, don't buy like clothes. You don't know where they come from, what kind of history they have.
And interestingly, my outfit today is thrifted in Korea. This one.
Maybe a hunky Korean ghost snatching on you.
I mean, we can talk about this off camera. Anyways, okay, let me share one more interesting incident. It's not a horror story. I was thrifting this brand called 第二的街. Yeah, 第二的街.
You all have
yeah.
it just opened in Singapore, by the way.
But we have a lot of 第二的街
Yes,
in Malaysia.
yes,
Subtitle please 第二的街. Anyway.
Second Street lah.
Maybe it's okay. Yeah. Anyways, I bought you know Second Street came from Japan.
Yeah.
So I bought this really nice looking blazer for like what 15 ringgit or 20 ringgit.
Okay.
But then the moment I bought home and when I wore it, I was like, there's a pocket in my blazer ma. Then I was like,
Take out,
digging.
yeah.
Then I saw a coin.
Ooh, Japanese coin?
Yes, exactly. The Japanese coin is like those in the it's like it seems like those in the temple one. So in the middle one is
the
like
hole one.
Yeah. So I was so freaked out. So my colleague was like, Jem, you need to throw this jacket away. You need to throw this jacket away.
I think it's really buy your own risk lor.
Yeah.
If you feel like if you sense like something is wrong, then I guess you should dispose of it.
Honestly, I did not, and I'm not sure if I still have the jacket with me. But it was a really a nice looking jacket, and I felt so sad if I need to like let it go because it's so pretty and it's only like 20 ringgit.
So.
But in the end, I still kept
What do you
it.
do with the coin?
Oh yeah, interesting. The coin I actually left it somewhere. I didn't bring it home. I mean, technically I brought it home. No, technically I brought it home before, but after that, when I found out there's
you basically removed it out of your environment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, so I don't know, but let me know what are your takes on thrifting. But I love thrifting, especially good qualities one.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But anyway, I'm so sorry to say that we have to end our session already because I feel like there's so much more things to discuss about. But like I say, guys, this episode could be a little bit not as scary as the previous episodes because like I said, this episode is meant to be more educational. We talk about superstitious beliefs, we discuss about stuff and opinions, we talk about history of Singapore, that's related to a little bit supernatural. So in the future, hopefully maybe we can have Nat again and perhaps with another hunky military Singaporean man or whoever your friends are,
Sure.
Yeah. Then we can talk more, we can discuss more about it because like we are neighbor country, so probably we can do some comparisons.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me today.
Thank you so much for coming to my show. And once again, guys, if you guys have any stories that you want to share, please go to my personal IG, JemJen, or go to eerified, eerified. Oh my God, I'm already blurred. Go to eerified official account and send your stories. And see you at the next episode.
Bye.